It's a Kenneth Grant quote, who he was the heir to Crowley's Thelema.
Oh yeah.
In one, he mentions how that they have in what's called the New Isis Lodge, they have the sigils of these beings.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Now I'm like, do I really want to know? Because you know
Yeah.
what we're going to do, right? We're going to get a hold of them. And then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, all hell might break loose. But they knew the sigils were present. It's
So
huge.
they kind of, they like, I think the phenomenon likes the fact that, oh, they're using such things to give homage to them. Homage, worship, and sacrifice. That's all they're after. The thing is now is that how it's considered at the higher level, which I was told, was they don't eliminate. It's not like the demonic. It's not like it's satanic, or even pagan or any other. It's like, yes, they believe in a god, but they don't call it or see it as a god figure. They
Mm-hmm.
see it as a more of a universal god, intelligence, power, which is really the same thing as saying a source, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's
But
exactly right.
then from down from that, they say that there are the workers of God, such as the angels.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, you've also got the underneath that, you've got the humans working for God or the whatever the source is. Those humans will be recognized as sometimes in biblical scriptures are recognized as having horns or the light horns and all sorts of different things. It's separate from the halo,
Hmm.
which have been touched by the Holy Spirit. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and then below that, you've got like these people, humans, which are used by the phenomena. So these are people that are directed through downloads, or they are doing something in the way of working for them, even if they're unaware of it, through ritualistic practices, for being rewarded, and so on and so forth. And then you've got the average Joe blog on the street, the general public. So it's kind of this order of effects, and people often ask about hierarchies, and I say to them that yes, there definitely is a hierarchy. Where do you fit light beings in? I mean, where would you fit light beings into this? I mean, it's a bit of a tricky one, light beings, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm still dealing with the even angels, linguistically speaking, it was a Ugaritic term that meant deceased ancestor, which points to some kind of potential within human consciousness, a
Mm,
separate body, a light body, which is what I believe the USSR was working with, right? Where they were projecting themselves and you would
yeah.
have a separate body. Now, is that, and I was talking to Barry about this a long time ago, where it's like, not a long time ago. You guys have known each other forever. I've only known you guys for a little bit, but long time in my years.
Yeah, yeah.
Where it's possible that the soul itself is a different species of the body. And so that's where
Yeah.
they came up with the angelic legend, right? Where
Yeah.
whatever that is different.
Mm.
Um, but I don't know. But I don't want to interrupt you, brother. Go ahead.
Well, it's definitely separation. Again, it's like the onions of sorry, it's like the layers of an onion, isn't it? There are different
Hmm.
parts to this. And of course, you've got the soul, and of course, you've got your spiritual self and the body, we clearly know that there has been separation through experience or experiments. Um, so there are various different forms of being out of body in a non-physical manner through the alien abduction phenomena and physical through the alien abduction phenomena. So they can do both. They can take you in a non-physical sense. But the thing is, that even under hypnosis, when we did hypnosis and we put people under, and as an example, we put a twopence piece on their arm and told them it was quite hot. And when they came out, they actually blistered on their arm the shape of the twopence piece, though that wasn't physically hot at all. So this became the study of SISPM, self-induced spontaneous physical marking. Now,
Hmm.
SISPM, it falls under the bracket of stigmata as well, the
Hmm.
Christ wounds through the power of belief. You don't have to have any physicality to cause
Hmm.
those wounds, but they can appear on the body just as blisters can appear on the body, through the brain overrides the physical, you see. That's the thing.
Hmm.
Physicality. is after the psychology, the
Right.
physicality, you know. And when we've
Hmm.
communicated with NHI, we ask questions about what came first. So the old chicken or the egg scenario, spirit
Hmm.
or body. And the reply, if it be true, was that we were always spirit to begin with and transition
Hmm.
to solid matter, not the other way
Totally.
around. Because most people think, oh, we've been born to this world and then we depart in spiritual form, you see.
Hmm.
So it's like a cycle of events.
It's the reverse. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's,
Wow.
and you don't really know if you're really getting the truth out of these guys anyway, but I do know we often get some truths. When we say,
Hmm.
like, is there a heaven? And they reply, for those that make it, whatever that
Hmm.
is supposed to mean. Because the
Yeah.
problem is they're very cryptic and they like to leave answers where you've got 100 questions after that,
Hmm.
for those that make it, whatever that's supposed to mean. But the
Hmm.
thing is, the human perception is a construct. What we see and interact with is constructed within our brain through our
Hmm.
eyes. The eyes are just a lens, and the
Hmm.
information is sent to the brain and constructed.
Hmm.
So when we experience phenomena, it could simply be being that it's interfering or interacting or manipulating the process of construction within our brains. So we can imagine anything. We could experience anything because everything, all the senses that we have from feelings to seeing to hearing to smell, whatever, it's all generated by electrical impulses that are sent to the brain to make the construction. And that
Hmm.
structure, that matrix it makes, can easily be manipulated because they are masterful at manipulating the matrix. But the
Hmm.
matrix isn't around us. The matrix
It's in here.
it's
Yeah.
in here
Yeah.
because everything what we see around us is generated in here. And they started to do some tests to say like this is all related with space time, and they can prove it. So basically, what they were saying is that we do live in the past, in the present, and future simultaneously. Trying to
Hmm.
wrap your head around that. He said, okay, so how do we prove it? So we take people into the laboratory and we put certain types of probes on them. This is referred to as a galvanic skin resistance test,
Hmm.
and it's measuring the effects on the body, reactions. And they sat them in front of TV screens, which was flicking up images, just random images. And they were being monitored reaction wise to what they were seeing, the perception of what they're seeing on the screen. So you get some nice puppies and then some little kittens and some nice
Hmm.
flowers. And then you'll get one photograph of a load of dolphins being slaughtered. The horror.
Right.
However, the body reacted before the visual happened. So, in other words, the body is preparing itself for what is coming, which isn't consciously known. So, in other words, we are in living part of us in the future, and it's reacting back, and that mechanism is alerting us for what's to come. It was always always pre seeing the visuals. So they're getting a skin response. In other words, the body is reacting to, "Ooh, I've just seen a horrible image," before they'd actually seen it. So
That's like,
yeah, it's an experiment to show the fact that, well, you know what, we have one foot in the camp on the future to some degree,
wow.
and the body reacts to it. So when we get these guttural feelings, we're driving down the road one night, and suddenly we get this, ooh, this feeling. I'm thinking, oh my God, what is that? I've got this real weird feeling. And then all of a sudden, a few minutes later, something's there. That is your body reacting to what is going to be prepared for. It's preparing you for what is going to happen. And it's the same process it's used in
Yeah.
paranormal mechanics. You know, the preparation happens because you're foreseeing what the body's acting out, what you're about to experience. In a sense, it's trying to prepare you, in a sense, that mechanism,
Right.
that survival sense. It isn't just current, it isn't just now, it's beyond that. And we know that from these experiments. So then they thought, okay, well, I wonder if you can. That's the psychology of it. But what about the physiological of it? Can we manipulate the matrix? So
Hmm.
they did some experiments by bringing people in, and it was a random number generator ball flow with all these chambers, about 30 of them, and balls just randomly fall into them. Now, normally just letting it run by normal generation, it's a number generator. It kind of just, it's just a general flow like that. And it tends to be always the same.
Hmm.
However, when you stick people in front of it and ask them to see if they can manipulate the fall of the balls, they were willing the balls to fall more in the center than the outside. So therefore, they were manipulating the matrix of their reality by thought process. So we do have some governance over it, but not masterful enough like the phenomena.
This is wild stuff here.
It is pretty wild stuff. But the experiments show it. The experiments show that we can bend and manipulate the reality. We can't break it. We're not
Hmm.
masterful enough, but we can manipulate it in our favor, should we want to. That means that the matrix of what we're seeing around us and the effects of taking place is being altered through the process of belief, of wanting it to change. So this is where
Absolutely.
belief comes into it. Belief is so powerful. This is why you've got it at the base ledge of all religions. It's all about belief. If you believe in something and you've got another 10,000 people are going to believe in the same thing, it is
Hmm.
very, very potent, very, very powerful. And it can be used by the phenomenon to say, huge amount of energy here. I'm going to use it for that. I'm going to use it for that and use it for that. So it wants to keep itself topped up by having its flock. And it's
Hmm.
making sure that initiated experiences are happening with children now because they know, because they can see into the future, because
Hmm.
space and time is not like what we're constructed, what we're stuck in is that they can see in 30 years' time, these people, this person's going to write a number one bestseller, and then they're going to make a TV show out of it, and it's all going to be about us. Thank you very much. That's why you had the initiation experience, because we're going to take you off the path. You were supposed to be an engineer. You were supposed to be a pilot. You're supposed to be a shop worker. No, you are going to be working within that study of this field for the rest of your life because we are going to take you and put you on that track through the initiated
Right.
experiences. So it's control at an early age to get you to do what they want you to do.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we can't help but help, work for them in the sense of speaking. Even if
Hmm.
we want to oppose them, we still got to jump in the pool with the rest of them. Even though
Hmm.
that we are swimming in the opposite direction, we all have to be in that pool. And that's kind of what they've done in the sense of speaking. But there's not enough of them. There's not enough people like you and me and others. There's just not enough. We don't have a big enough voice. We're fighting a tidal wave of manipulation on a global basis 24 hours a day, which is
Hmm.
massive, a massive, massive undertaking. And it just goes to show that even if you just calculations alone, the source and how it manipulates and does all this is massive, is huge, whatever that consciousness is, to be able
Hmm.
to control everything. And there was what, 7.6 billion people on this planet now, you know,
Hmm.
and to be, constantly a whole program generated to the individuals
It's
is an
unbelievable.
incredible thing. But then we start, if we start to you take this area out from the UAP, because like I say, we do get into the paranormal mechanics and stuff, and we
Hmm.
can apply that into paranormal mechanics, you see similar things. And now we
Hmm.
know, in the studies of poltergeist manifestations, for many years, people wrote these rule books saying, oh, yes, it's this, oh, yes, it's that, this is how it works, it's all down to this. They were never right, none of them. The poltergeist manifestation, the poltergeist phenomena, it derives from a particular source that is multitasking. The phenomena of poltergeist manifestations is happening in multiple locations simultaneously. It's in charge of going, I'm having this there, I'm having this there, I'm having it. And you know what? I'll take that from your environment and oh, I'll put it in your environment. Oh, right. So you end up with items that don't even belong to you turning up in the house. Well, yes.
Mhm.
But what about the original items that seemingly disappear? Where did it go? I don't know. It just disappeared. Now we know that those people that have had these poltergeist disturbances have gone on to do renovations in the homes and they've knocked down a wall for the very first time. And in the cavities are the items that had disappeared, or they're under the floorboard from where the item was close to. The item is normally within 4 or 5 feet away from its disappearance point. This is because it's so resourceful, the phenomena. Why the phenomena isn't going to go, I'm going to take this item and I'm going to put it half a mile away, or I'll put it halfway down the street. No, it's going to go, no, I don't want to use all that energy. I'll just stick it under the floorboard or in the wall and you'll never find it, you know? But
Mm.
sometimes we do find it. Now, even last week, which I was in discussions with Barry,
Mhm.
there was a home which was going under renovation. It was a it was a single story like bungalow type home. So there was no upstairs. It had never had any alterations done. So the physical walls had never been touched. Inside those physical walls was children's shoes, toys, cutlery. These are all things that poltergeists love to shift.
Yeah, yeah.
And interestingly, a newspaper. The newspaper had a date on which was newer than the build of the home.
Oh,
So
God.
how did it get in there? Because the walls never been brought down, and we know that the building was made, 80 years ago, but the paper is 40 years old or 30 years old. And you think to yourself, how does a 30-year-old paper get in a 90-year-old wall? And
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no way it's ever been opened before. So they're finding things which have been left behind by the actions of poltergeist infestations. And with the multitasking, the apport phenomena seemingly is a quantum anchor. So that the phenomena goes, okay, so now we've reached a point, I'm going to bring you in to manage. It's like giving a guy a task at a computer table. Here's another one, Joe, and he
Yeah.
brings it into his fold and he says, okay, I'll manage this one as well. And to manage all these things, he's like, right, okay, well, this house, this house, this house, this house. All right, I need something there. I need to be able to deliver phenomena to your house easily without it being all on
Mhm.
my shoulders. So it generates an apportation. Now, these apports can take place without the people being at home. They don't need to be at home. And if and if they're not at home, they will never know that they're drinking out of a cup, which is an apport, or reading the book that they think that they just bought this
That
week is the
that's
same.
huge.
They are disguised. Now, only under the microscope, under analysis, you'll see the difference. But no one's going to
Mhm.
take a book. No one's going to take this and think, oh, yeah, oh, my remote control. Oh, it could be that. But you're going to put it under analysis and you're going to realize, oh, the plastic and the mechanics inside of it has been altered in some diathermic way. But you wouldn't know because you're not going to stick it under the in for analysis. These things are in plain sight and we're using them. And this is how it seemingly directs phenomena because all it's got to do is target what it left there, the apport.
Mm.
Yeah. And it targets that and that takes the location. So, how do we know this? If your apports are discovered, and I say, okay, let me know what they are, I'll remove them. And what happens is you've got phenomena taking place every day, in some cases of poltergeist infestations. You remove the apport, suddenly there's like nothing for 4 days, nothing 4 or 5 days. It's like, and they're on the phone to you
Oh.
going, what have you done? Have you got rid of it? I said, well, no, we can't manage poltergeist infestations like this. We can starve
Mhm.
the phenomena, in other words, bring your reaction levels down so that because the poltergeist phenomena, it's vampiric, it's a parasite. It feeds off the vexation and the stress in
Mhm.
victims. This is why everything is so resourceful. If it's going to move something, it's going to make sure it's in the middle of the floor, or it's going to make sure it's in a place that you'd never put it, so that you immediately know this is not normal. It's not going to put
Mhm.
something over there because you might just think, maybe I moved it there. That's a wasteful action. It's just wasted this movement for nothing. They don't do that. They are super, super resourceful. It's probably the most resourceful of all phenomena. Never wastes it. So hence, they're only a few feet away in the wall or under the floor. They're not going to massive places, these apports.
Hmm.
But what they do with providing that quantum anchor is the deliverance of the phenomena to key locations. But we removed them, and there was a sudden problem in the
Drop.
system. The cogs said, oh God, what's happening? What's going on? For 4 or 5 days, there was nothing when you were getting regular incidents, 6, 7, 8 incidents per day. And they're onto you saying, have you got rid of it? Well, no, we haven't, because we can't manage the infestations like that. But what is happening? It's caused mass confusion. And they've lost sight of the quantum anchor because we've just moved the
Hmm.
quantum anchor into a shed or storage location because we're not going to take them home with us because what we
Mm.
refer to them is that they're hot. And they are for a short period of time. In other words, the phenomenon tracks the apports, not the location. You see, so because they become lazy, they
Oh,
become
you're
lazy.
killing me. It's
Yeah, they
good
become
stuff, buddy.
so
Wow.
lazy.
Yeah.
They are so lazy that they have to leave something in the environment to make it, oh, well, it's easy now. I could have left something there. It's a quantum anchor. We come along and remove the quantum anchor and put it somewhere else. The phenomena tracks it. And then it kind of, hang on a second, what's going on? It's supposed to be going there, but it's not. It's going over there. Why is it going over there? Oh, it's because it's following the airport. There's like a 3 or 4 day cycle for them to realize they've just been done. And then what it does is it reverts back to the house again. So all of a sudden it goes back up
Hmm.
again, and picks up where it left off. And that seems to be the situation. It's a managing situation for the infestation to deal with multiple locations, providing quantum anchors. Now, what's interesting is when you analyze these things, you will get results, the differentials, but you have to test it against something which is identical. Like if it's a mug, you get the same mug which you came with. If you bought a set of mugs, you've got one which is the apple, one it isn't. You can't just take it in. You can't just have one item analyzed because you've got to have it analyzed against what? You've got to have a test
So,
bed, a baseline.
yeah, you have to have a baseline. Plus, you have to even know for sure that right was an apport, first of all. And people don't know
Exactly.
that. And even if they do, they don't have something to compare it to.
Exactly. You won't know.
That's slick. That's
This
so
is
slick.
clever. I mean, wait for you to go out because we used to think poltergeist infestations, the incidents, the disturbances only act up and take place in the presence of the focus or the catalyst. That was a lie. We've had
Yeah.
people relocated for 3, 4 days and the phenomenon is still present. It doesn't rely on it. It's
Hmm.
independent. So it was
Hmm.
always a lie, what these people have been telling us for years. And when it becomes independent, it means it can wait for you to go out and I can put an apple anywhere you want and you would never know. It could be the pen in your
Ugh.
hand. It could be remote control. It could be your pillow that you put your head on at night. You would never, ever know. But it knows. And that's how a good way to deliver phenomena to the location. And well, the only way we can figure that out is when people have said, yes, this apported and this was what the apport was. Then we can conduct the analysis against another item identical. So you've got your baseline test first. Baseline goes in first and puts all the details up and say, okay, so if we do this first, the test one, and now we're going to put the apport in, we expect it to be the same. We've got to put it against something. And the
Hmm.
problem is, when your baselines like this, you put your apport one and it goes it's like all over the bloody place. You're thinking, well, they weigh the same, they look the same, they feel the same. You will never know the difference. But under the microscope, you will. At the atomic level, you can look at this and go, hang on a second, this is nothing. Nothing like it. And the biggest problem for these guys, these physicists, is they're quite happy to turn around and even say, because it blows their mind, even say, because if it's atomic structure now through this diathermic reaction, we can't understand why it looks the same, why it feels the same. And look, everything is identical about it, but it can't really think, but it's drastic change, which should, you'd think, create an alteration that you'd be able to visually see it or feel it. But we don't. It's very cleverly constructed to hide it. But under the microscope, it's there. And you can see this under the microscope and you can say, okay, these are the levels of difference between the normal, the baseline, and the apport. Now, the problem is that not many people, if people are having apports, they're not going to go around and find them. The
Hmm.
phenomena is a good way of delivering the phenomena, its disturbances to that location without having to manage it. They don't have to manage it because, like I say, it's the most resourceful. It's got a lot on its plate because I'm doing this, 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 and this. Sometimes I'll have an item turn up in your home because I've took it from over there. I've apported it out from there and I put it there. Oh, you want an apport? I'll go like that then. And what you're doing is you're still managing because you
Yep.
know what you've done and you know where you put them. But it can cause mass confusion when you start moving them around. They don't like it. And sometimes apports are in physical sight, and when they are, we can analyze them. We can see the difference. One, two, three. I've got photographs. I've got drawers full of apports. They're cold now, but they were hot originally. When I say hot, for a considerable length of time, they were phenomena was tracking them. So we don't bring them
Hmm.
home with us. But then when it all kind of cools down and it kind of, well, you know what, there's nothing connected to it. It's not a quantum anchor anymore, but we've still got its physical state. Then we can say, okay, we'll keep it in a drawer or something, whatever. And we've got loads. And it's like, it's ornaments. I mean, here's an example. One particular ornament.
Hmm.
There was an argument between these couple because they're getting stressed with all the phenomena that's going on. The man and wife, they're having an argument. This guy, in anger, picks up because his wife's got a collection of pot cats. Lovely collection. And he knows that she loves them. So,
Hmm.
like anybody does when they want to demonstrate anger, is they want to deliver something that will cause upset to their partners. So he grabs one of these and he flings it out the back door. It hits the one of the stone flags, shatters, and she's so upset. She's crying and da da da, and screaming and shouting. After an hour or two, things calm down. The following day, the cat turns up, back on its resting place, perfect condition. She goes outside to see where's the damaged one because she hadn't cleaned it up, and it's gone. So it got rid of the damaged one to convince them that the damaged one is now repaired and brought it back. But it hadn't. It just got rid of the damaged one and got it replaced with the apport. Now, one of the cats is now an apported pot cat, which is in her collection on the shelf. It was, and the disturbances went like this. And it was only when we removed the pot cat, it went like this, So it's kind of looking into it and kind of, we know your mechanism. We know how to play this out and we know how to get response, and this will prove it. And we can literally go to the point where we're saying, you know what? Don't worry, because you're going to have a spell of 3 or 4 days where it's going to be completely free of phenomena. Live it up because it might return, but take these three
Hmm.
days. And you know what? We'll bring the apport home, and all of a sudden they're on the phone to us saying, how did you know that? How did you
Right,
how do
right,
you know
right.
we're not going to have anything for a few days or so? I mean, it's just crazy. And you think, yeah, well, there's a mechanism behind the phenomena, but that mechanism shows intelligence, and there's a rule book. It literally is like a rule book,
The
like you
rule book,
do.
yes. A
Yeah,
systematic presence
yeah,
that's incredible because it goes back to your work with the guides, right? Where they all had a systematic answer.
the
It
systematic
wasn't
answer.
like, let me go think. It was like, oh, let me look at the rule book. Oh, this is
Well,
what we
yeah,
got
I
to say.
mean, yeah, the response was, do you want to continue your communications or do you want to ask questions? All
Yep.
of them, because the phenomena got under the skin by this time, and they
Hmm.
built a relationship with these guys. All of them, every single one of them turned around and said, "Oh, I won't ask any more questions. Don't leave."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then
Oh,
it kind of just, okay, no problem. Don't ask me any more questions. Slap on their hand. Now the thing is that when you're pressing them, they know they've been lied to. Because so we
they
do
know.
research and we tell them, you've been lied to. This is not this person. He never worked there. He never lived there. Da 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 da. Here's all the evidence. And they know they're being lied to, but they will not let it go. They won't let it go. It's got under their skin. It means everything to them. So even though they know they've been lied to, they just cannot do it.
It just implies architecture behind the matrix where you punch beyond the veil and you start to measure and monitor the phenomenon's response times, like you and Barry are. This is again, it's not just the phenomenon's intelligent. Once you get beyond the barrier of it and the veil, there are intelligent responses that are coordinated, right?
Absolutely
That
coordinated.
that are okay. It's going to act like this. Why? And that's not a mindless, unguided process.
No,
That's an intelligent, designed process where It just speaks of a matrix. It speaks of a
You're
construct.
absolutely bang
Absolutely.
on. You've not got individualism regarding the phenomena because it's not like you and me that we decide, oh, well, I might do this or I might do that. No, they are stuck within the rigid
Yeah.
mechanism of this matrix. So they act out and it's kind of a rule book. And when
Yes. There we
you
go.
come across these rule books all the time. But if you do get
Appreciate it.
challenged, you get challenged, have a look at the mechanisms because you just have these light bulb moments. You go, hang on a second, this is
Hmm.
mentioned in historical documents, but it's the same thing. They were doing it right back then, you know, and
Yeah.
you start to
Same
realize,
pathology. That's what led me to you and Barry's work is because I noticed it like 5 years ago where it was like, this is the same stuff.
yeah,
Oh, everything else, smoke and mirrors. It's just
everything.
bloodletting, sacrifice, worship, sigils. By the way, if you don't believe on that, I'll give you something else that you may
Yeah.
believe in. But at the same time, I want all this.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
that's this is this deep research, and but yeah, I appreciate our time, brother. You have a
You're
good
welcome,
evening. All
buddy.
right.
No problems.
Thank
I'll
you,
talk to
buddy.
you soon, pal.
Yes,
Okay.
sir, buddy. See ya.
All right. Cheers for now, mate.